Greetings. We are on March 4 in 2024, and we have with us David Ferdinand. Yes,
Yes,
I,
that's
I
correct.
pronounce well your name. You are from Brazil and you want to help all the world, but right now you are also focused in Africa. I'm saying correct?
Yes, that is correct. We have
Yes,
an
so you are
organization
already,
called, yeah,
sorry,
we have
you
an,
are
go
already
ahead.
helping the world. Yes.
Yes, we have an organization that was just formed about 1 month ago called Brazil Africa Alliance, or BA, BAA. And up until a month ago, I had no idea about Africa. I live in Brazil, and already Brazil is suffering, but nothing like what's happening in Sierra Leone, in Freetown. It's the compassion for me, just coming to know what the realities are. I don't want to say I don't sleep anymore, but I'm awake at 3 o'clock in the morning now, where I used to sleep for 10 or 15 hours a day. Because I live in an environment here on Evolution Island off the coast of Sao Paulo, Brazil. And it's literally paradise. And I'm here, it's just my wife and myself. We're the caretakers of this place. And we are auto-sustainable. We have permaculture gardens. We have an abundant supply of fresh mineral water. We have meditational trails. We put on things like plant medicine, ayahuasca, and what have you. But the reason why I'm mentioning my physical location is because my wife, her name is Maria, thinks that I'm totally a retard and totally nuts because Brazil's not suffering enough. And now I'm taking the peace and harmony that basically we have here and bringing it to a place like Africa, which is even in worse situation. So my wife really has no understanding of the inspiration or the guidance that's flowing through me. I try to help her understand that, but there is a fear, I guess, to come to terms that we are being divinely inspired right now. And the work that the GPMS is doing with the whole team, not just Rick and Lee and you, Patrice, but I've now had at least 10 different conversations at length for 1 hour or more with so many great, wonderful people that are all doing their own service and kind of coming from a different approach. Um, and that's wonderful because we are unique, and that's what makes life dynamic and gives us the ability to express ourselves. But really, we do come to one point, one exact point, like the Big Bang. When the Big Bang happened back in time, that first moment that light was created and sound was created. So the work that we do here on Evolution Island, I've come to become a portal developer and a Stargate developer. And I'm dealing now with levitation and dealing with these green energy fields and dealing with fresh water, plasma water that we can capture from the air. And they're not free technologies, nor they ever need to be, because the fact in life is that the cost of doing anything requires you paying attention. That's what we pay, is our attention, and our attention is our time. For example, being on this Zoom call today, this is a delight and a wonderful opportunity for me to express myself. But the fact is, our time is valuable, and by connecting, we can share in that wonderful story of our divine nature and God's inspiration. And so today I wanted to just briefly prepare people for Saturday's Zoom meeting for the Africa group. And I had listened to several different podcasts already. And quite honestly, you're correct. The real issue in Africa is a mindset, or call it brainwashing or programming, of victimization and literally slavery. And so everyone that I've talked to outside of GPMS, I'm talking about individual people in South Africa, Uganda, Nigeria, now in Sierra Leone. The first conversation I have, everyone has their hands out like beggars, saying, oh, we need money, we need money. And I'm saying to them, that's not the truth. The truth is that we have two options in life. We have money on one side of the coin, and on the other side of the coin, we have time. Time. And time is the only thing is natural. So what we have come up with is a program where people can be valued for their 1 hour or 5 minutes, however you want to increment or fractionalize it or whatever, divide it. The fact is, the moment of now, even you being in Canada and us being here in Brazil, the fact is, it's now. It's the presence, and it's our being present that gives us that divine guidance, because we could do nothing wrong being present. It's perfect. And so the message today is a message not of hope. It's more of a message of joy, that we now have two options. It's no longer one option, money, money, money. On the other side of the coin is time. So the program that we're offering is called time banking. And it's something that's been around for 60 years, since John F. Kennedy administration, before John F. Kennedy was assassinated. And actually, he proposed to change the Social Security system in the United States totally to a time-based system, which would take away the social entitlements and the social welfare and really empower everyone to be responsible for the present moment that we live in. And that is the thing that I have noticed, recognized very quickly. Only 1 month ago, I had no idea really, nor any interest in Africa. I'm so kind of overwhelmed and just at awe with the problems, social problems and conditions here in Brazil. Like I said, my wife doesn't even really want me to do this in Africa. And she's advising to stop. And I can't. I just can't. I can't let it go. And so I don't know if you have any questions, or if do you know about time banking? Have you ever heard of time banking and the idea of exchanging time first and then money later?
So this will be a great discussion. Just to let you know that probably almost at the same time, like a couple of 4 weeks ago, I started also to be interested on Africa too. So seems the same time. And I started to discover, because they asked me water, then I started to discover water from the air on the YouTube, but I knew nothing about that, even that this is possible before. Just I started to share because I created GPMS administration, and there it's a tab with Africa, and also another one with community that I started to share. Because I started to share in so much private accounts with the contributors from Uganda, then I said this is not possible because it's just repetition of the information. Then I started to bring on GPMS administration for all the administration that they want to join, and they want to see that. So we will just insert time banking also. This will be just amazing, because it is also about the education. So we gather the information there, and all the information that is gathering on GPMS administration Telegram account, that it's only accessed by the contributors, GPMS contributors, can be downloaded and storage on the computers of the contributors. So everyone can storage all the information that will be posted there. So this is not only for me to protect and to have that. We are contributors that practically we are equal, and we all the time we are working like a team, and we just help each other. So after we will put also the information by the time banking and everything, I'm telling you that this information will be inserted on the GPMS schools as education, and this will be in the future in the system. So practically our children that we have today, they are the last generation children that they are still on poverty and everything, and with no real education. Everything that will come after that will just create a system where practically the information will be absorbed via the system, will come from everywhere. So this
Yes.
will be just amazing because I saw a little bit today. I was waking up at 4 a.m. and when I entered and I saw the project for Africa, I said, "What is that?" And when I saw that it's about agriculture, permaculture, and everything, I said, "This is just amazing." Then I started to share in Africa on GPMS Africa contributors, and we'll just move forward. I'm extremely open. How can I say, just to be able to gather the information and to storage the information, because if Telegram will let us down, as exactly as Facebook sometimes is doing, or right now YouTube, that try to censor us or something, like just to have the storage of the information in many computers. Then practically we can bring up in another way. Probably we can come with a sort of, like, it is a platform, Facebook platform. I'm now we have a planner, so to bring GPMS platform as well. So this is just the future. So it depends how many people will come, and practically many projects will start from here. And even that the administration of GPMS is not implemented yet, we still can do a lot. And when the people gather in number in some area, there will be a huge pressure on the system in that area, and will be in many areas at the same time. And practically, so we will advance all the project how we can, even until GPMS administration starts. So please share the information about time banking. It's just amazing that you are here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, I'm so delighted that I can share anything in the gratitude, like Rick and everyone says, love, light, and gratitude. When you are in unconditional love, and that's where our divine nature is. It's in the present moment. That's what I mean by unconditional love. Unconditional love is not an emotion. It's a location. It has a GPS. And we know that we have an antenna in our pineal gland. And when our heart is taking that vibration tone and going through our throat chakra, it actually goes right up and activates our third eye and activates that crystalline antenna. And then the energy just flows out. So as quick as God's inspiration or God's guidance and consciousness comes to us, we don't try to hold any of that. All we do is live, and it's the I am. And so the work that we're doing in quantum physics here on Evolution Island, we do have a lab, and we have a very special project. And we have evolved to, I believe, the highest level of our human consciousness. I don't think there's anything else for us to know. I think that, and the good news is that we have arrived. Now it's time to celebrate, and time to dance, and time to laugh, and time to smile and have fun. Have fun with it. Play with it as an innocent child would play. And just allow. And so the time banking is very interesting. Edgar Kahn was the inventor of time banking philosophy, and he just passed away just, I think, 2 years ago now. And so actually on March 23rd is the International Day of Pay It Forward, of time banking. And so there's a celebration that's happening on the 23rd, but really for the conversation that I'm having in Africa specifically, is on the 22nd of March, coming up in 3 weeks. And that is the evening before the 23rd. So on this evening, we're having a candlelight vigil, and it's supposed to take place physically at the Cotton Tree, which is a historic site in the center of the island of Freetown. And typically only the president of Sierra Leone has a public assembly there. But we need to pull a permit and do all of the bureaucratic stuff. So I don't know if we're actually going to succeed in having the physical presence. But the candlelight vigil can be a global awakening of lighting a candle all across the planet. You don't have to leave your house. Just light that candle of peace and forgiveness. And that's what we try to help motivate people to forgive. We must forgive ourselves to become unconditionally loving to ourselves first. There is no way that we can reflect that unconditionality unless we know what it feels like, and we know the true joy and the true unconditional love that comes with that. So it all starts with forgiveness, and then the peace comes. So on the evening of March 22nd is something that I want to talk about too, and it's not just physically located in Freetown and Sierra Leone. This is all for all of the African nations, really specifically. However, we're gonna attract people from all over the globe. It's just like GPMS movement. It's about the global aspect of our unity. It's not about focusing on some separation or some need that one group has over another, because the fact is we are all dependent on money. And that's the whole philosophy with the GPMS system, is to remove that dependency and create an alternative where we can have all of the essentials of housing, shelter, food, clothing, and all of the things that you speak about. So I don't need to educate you per se. I'm talking this way to try to help educate the people in Africa that may be listening to this recording at some point. And I do hope that you share it on that site, because like I said, I am being inundated now. Everyone has their hands out. And what I'm saying to them is time comes first, and then money and wealth comes after. If we do not pay attention to our present moment and be calm about it and allow and breathe every breath and accept and have God's guidance kind of guide us in everything that we do. There's nothing we need to do, Patrice. Everything is already done. Everything is in perfect order, and it always has been, and it always will be. God's love for us is unconditional, and that is the purpose of our human existence, is to experience that at least one time in our life. And once we do, we never have conditions again. We never have judgment. We never have discrimination. We never have separation. What we do have is unity, and that is the message. I don't want to get into too many of the details, but time banking is very simple. It's a one-to-one mathematical equation. 1 hour of passionate, meaningful work for yourself first, your family, your community, and the world rewards one time coin credit, or it's a tokenized system. It is in alignment with the Bitcoin philosophy, where Bitcoin has a dollar symbol on one side, but nobody sees the other side of Bitcoin. So what we say is Timecoin is the alternative to Bitcoin. And we're not trying to eliminate right now, we're not trying to eliminate the dependency that we have on money. But what we're saying is that if you get these time credits, and you can buy these time credits right now, just like Bitcoin started with zero, we're starting at $10 a credit. So in Sierra Leone, in Freetown, for example, there's one, and I don't know exactly, but estimate is 1.2 million people live in Freetown. And more people are going there because there's no jobs in the other provinces in Sierra Leone. So everyone's migrating there. It's one of the most dense populated cities on earth. And most of the settlements there are illegal, and the water is so polluted, and malaria and all sorts of illnesses for the children. If you live as a baby to be 3 years old, you're lucky. Most babies are dying in the cribs and stuff because the water there is awful from all of the mining has uncovered all of these heavy metals that are now toxic, not only in the water, but now in the air. It's not just in the water, it's everything that you breathe. We live in a toxic environment. So the philosophy of time banking is very simple. It's one-to-one. And so it's very easy for people to understand that. Bitcoin, on the other hand, with algorithms and cryptocurrency and having attorneys and all sorts of risks and inflation and whatever, is complicated. But we're not saying don't forget about money right now, because I don't think that that's really practical. And I don't think that's what GPMS is promoting either. GPMS, from what I understand, and I'm just becoming familiar with this, by the way, for anyone listening to this, I am by far like an expert like you are, Patrice or Rick. I'm not the founder of GPS, but I'm from the outside. And thank God and thank you, Patrice, for creating the network in that communication channel. And it's wonderful and it's dynamic. And that's what gives the ability for someone like me to fast track, to be able to get caught up to speed in 1 month and be not a virtual expert, but at least a contributor. That's all that I want to be, is a contributor. And if I can bring this as a solution, the time banking and the time exchange, literally anything that you can get with money, you can get with time. And so the churches in Uganda and Wandera, and the people in Nigeria and Uganda and Nigeria, they're all in these churches. Most of them are for children foundations. So everyone has the same interests. We need to protect the children. We need to give them a chance to grow up, not die at 3 years old before they can even express God's will and God's desire to make heaven on earth. And so everyone has the common interest. But what we need to do is try to empower people and make that shift in consciousness so that people can look at money in Bitcoin, for example, but have an alternative. That's all we need, is one other alternative. And that's all the reality is. Like Rick says, and everyone says at GPMS, this is the solution. And I believe it is the solution. How we get there is a little bit different. And what I'm trying to do is through the energy and through the channeling that I'm doing right now. And this is new to me. What I'm trying to do is accelerate that and be like in the 12th dimension and come and be a time traveler and come back here to the 4th dimension and actually explain, like with diagrams and blueprints, not just hypothetical stuff, like inventions that actually do create fresh water, do create a perpetual energy field, do create alternative transportation, like drones, for example. We have a drone that has no battery. No battery. The number one problem with drones is the battery. They're only 2 hours or 3 hours. And we also have a 3-person drone right now, and this is being developed at Embraer, a Brazilian aviation company owned by Brazil, that went to the New York Stock Exchange with an IPO just this past year. And the aviation is creating these passenger drones for 50 people without any impact on the environment. You can't even hear these drones, and they don't go from point A to point B, like through like a line. They go from A to B. They go through space and time. So you don't have to like travel from here to Canada. We're there in a moment. You blink your eye, you're there. And we don't even really need the drone to do that, but the drone helps. And it is a solution for our problem with transportation and infrastructure and bridges and roads and getting to people that need it and going into the Sahara Desert and actually giving a land that people in the past have thought were barren deserts. These places can be wonderful places for nomads, and we can travel around like gypsies wherever you want to go. There should be no limitation for you to go anywhere. If you want to go there, you should go there. And when you're there, you should have the full comforts of being surrounded by unconditional love, because that's all there's going to be. We are in the golden age, in the age of Satya Yuga, in the Hinduism world of the golden age. And that is the truth. And now all we need to do is rejoice and celebrate. And that is when manifestation happens, is when we can use our imagination and create in the 5th dimension. I'm not even talking about 3D design and engineering and architecture. I'm talking about holographics. And the holographic is our expression completely. For example, this conversation in the future, you'll be able to come back exactly, and your memory is perfect. It's not based on an interpretation of what you're processing and how you're kind of judging, or how you're not judgment like in a negative way, but we are ego. That's not a bad word. Ego is part of us. We are three entities. It's the Holy Trinity of me, myself, and I. And the I am is what's important. because the I am is what negotiates with our ego, our artificial self, and our natural self. So me is our ego, myself is our natural self, and the I am is God's presence that actually negotiates with the ego, so that you don't have to ignore the ego or try to destroy the ego. The ego is actually very good. And Eastern philosophy says that the Western difference is that the people in the West develop their ego. Like in Canada, the United States, and other places, we are very egotistical, capitalistic, profit driven, or whatever, which is not a bad thing, because through knowing your ego, then there's nothing left to learn. So all that's left to learn, you go from society to nature to spirituality. So once you develop your ego fully, there's nothing left to do but to immerse in the natural law. And that is the wonderful experience, to be natural. And so we don't believe that we need to conquer anything or that there's any revolution. What we're talking about the time banking philosophy and the principles of time banking, is an evolution. And what we say to everyone is to say no to revolution and say yes to evolution. And so I don't know if you have any questions. We can kind of cut it a little bit short on this conversation, because I know, and I'm looking forward to Saturday's talk. And so maybe if you have a question or comment, I'll be happy to stay.
For this education to be implemented worldwide and to be implemented directly on the system and to be recognized as we are equal, and to be understood inside of a society that we are equal and we have the God rights and everything, and also to implement universal natural law, this is Gpms.world. And regarding the monetary system, we never said this should be this system or another system. What we are saying should be a system that is based on intrinsic value, and practically everyone will have like $10,000 with no taxes per month, and so we are paid equal. It does not matter what we are doing, but I believe that by our interest, we'll be doing a lot. And more the new technology is coming, as you are speaking right now about the drone, and you are speaking about something extremely important, because the distance, it's a problem at this time, and the distance can have a huge impact in all worldwide project. And also GPMS means no borders, so we should come with Gpms.org system, because through this system we can have the real freedom, exactly as we are, infinite and everything, to implement exactly as you are saying, the drones and everything, the new technology and the fifth dimension and above. So this is the reason that we need consents. And right now, how to gather the consents are coming. And more people are involved, and more we develop, and we can show to the people exactly you know, the new technology that is coming and the opportunity that they have. Then they may choose the new system. And those that they are still on the resistance, I do not know what could be the problem, but we do not need 100% of the population to agree with to start GPMS. And much more people are coming in one area, then there the area will start to see improvement. We will start to put pressure even on the actual legislation, but we need the universal natural implementation. So this is Gpms.org. With the universal natural implementation, everything is coming, because everything is linked to universal natural law. New border, all the new technology, we are equal, money system and everything. Everything is coming. So this is the key. It's this implementation of the true universal natural law, because I saw also other people, when they are speaking, they are not speaking, and they do not want the true universal natural law implementation. And I know why. This is another discussion. But here, We have the true universal natural law. It's exactly how it has to be. And
Yes.
it's absolutely amazing coming to me with drone right now, telling me about drones when I'm looking for opportunity to put the distance down. Wow, this is, you know, it's incredible. This is a huge step for the poverty to be down, because practically everything that we need
That's correct.
is about the access. And when we have access, it's absolutely not about the money. You are right. It's not about the money, not at all, because the money can be printed by us in unlimited money, exactly how GPMS it is. And practically through the legislation, because we have all the time restriction on the legislation, and this restriction on the legislation means border, that it's all about control and nothing else, then the people right now can see the border in control, because many of them, they are still not able to understand. This is the nationalist idea that they protect an area. They are not able to understand that we need to open the area, because the area, it's about the earth. Then traveling and having water from the air in the desert and everything, we can solve a lot of problem, because we do not need to modify the weather. Because some people told me also, Beatrice, we still need to modify the weather in the future. And I say, why? Because everything we can produce here, everything. No, it's not necessary to produce here everything. Let the weather how it is, because if we start to play with the weather, then after that we influence the nature and we influence the planet, and we need the planet in the form, in the pure form. We need to bring the planet how it was before, not to modify again. So we need to come with the true education. And the true education, it's not possible in another way at this time, but this will be in another way for sure in the future. But at this time, the education is made via the video. As you are saying, it's like the banking time. Put your time for free right now. Then practically we come with this information to the people, and more video we are able to do. We will start to replace the information that is given by the darkness education. Then the people will start to hear our information from our video.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so practically
one of
we
the
replace.
things that what I was going to say in comment to what you're raising as far as education, the platform that we are proposing is a platform of these mini videos, and to have each of the videos tabled at 1 hour. There'll be other videos that are more lengthy, like 4 hours or 6 hours, but those are courses that require more time. For 1 hour, people, you can get their attention, even though people say that 20 seconds is really what people pay attention to. But for 1 hour, it's an easy conversion, because in the future we will compensate everyone for educating themselves. So when they go on the video library, they actually get credit, one token. So if you spend 1 hour, at the end of that hour, there's a way of keeping people honest. You ask a test, basically a test of aptitude, to see if they actually were paying attention at all, And so if they pass the test, they get the one token, one time coin. And so it's a library. It's what we call the Akashic Library. You're familiar with the Akashic Library, correct?
Yes, a little bit.
Okay.
A little bit.
The Akashic Library is a library. It's the largest library in humanity ever. That's where God's consciousness and everything from the past, present, and future is there. And for example, this conversation, we can retrieve in the future. So we can predict with 100% assurance of what is happening right now. Not that we need to do that. Really, all we need to do is be present, because our presence is the truth. So even though we have the ability to forecast and predict, and this is where the financial markets go crazy. When I'm talking in Tokyo and London and Sao Paulo and New York Stock Exchange with brokers, they're saying, David, you have to be kidding me. We can predict with 100% assurance. what the markets are going to do? And I'm saying yes. And so this is going to be the greatest bull market ever in humanity. They talk about the Great Depression. This is the Great Accession, or the Ascension. This is a bull market that will never end. There is no end for the abundance that we're talking about. We don't have to be like people that look in crystal balls and try to like do seances and do all of this stuff. All we need to do is be present. And one of the things related to communication, and this is something that Rick has mentioned, is the platform that you are presenting is all internet based, is it not? It's satellite based. You rely on satellites. So the problem with that, Patrice, is that they're tracking everything. And at any moment, they can flip one switch and shut off everything. The GPMS system, if it's related to satellite-driven communications, is not a foolproof, and it's also anything on the internet we can hack. We have cybersecurity, A team and B team, or red and blue team, and we are actually doing maneuvers to try to hack into our system, the platform that we're creating, and you can't do it. You can't mess around with God's divinity, and even if you try, the system comes back and gives a warning, like somebody is penetrating, and we give a message to that person, like, are you sure you're real? You're trying to like destroy God? You know, it's not good enough to be perfect, and you want to try to make it perfect or take advantage for yourself. And so the way that we have is checks and balances and redundancy. It's like a video game. When you go into our applicativo, and it's an app-driven system, when you go into it, it's like playing a game. And if you play the game and with fun and with innocence and with joy, you can play forever. But if you go into the game and you try to make some type of take advantage or separation, the system responds back and says, what are you doing? You know, it doesn't let you do anything. You couldn't do it anyways, but we keep everyone honest. And there is no attack. God's consciousness is perfect, and we are God's consciousness. And so what we promote is a local area network, an intranet, using a quantum radio frequency that has just been developed, just discovered by Dr. David Howie from the National Institute of Science and Technology in the United States. He identified that the FM and AM band is minuscule compared to the band of quantum, which comes from the 0 point. And at the 0 point, the government cannot regulate that. Everything that we are doing is not regulated. And but the government, we want to work with all of the stakeholders. We're not like anarchists, and we don't want to try to eliminate anything, because you can't anyways. Good and bad equals one. And so evil and goodness is one. We don't want it, like I said, with ego, we don't, or a disease for that matter, with illness or cancer. We do not want to destroy the cancer cell. All we want to do is remind the cancer cell that it's perfect. And we have an ability, we have a machine called the B3 scanner, and B3 stands for the brain body biofield scanner. In 20 seconds, anybody steps into this tube, and it's not plugged in. It uses a plasma water floor. It's called easy water. And when you step on it, it separates the hydrogen and the oxygen and creates a 12-volt charge. And that charge sends an activation of the scanning device like a Xerox machine. And it fills the tube with this biophotonic light, which is our first light. It's the light of creation. And what it does is remind you on a DNA, mRNA, and telomere level, right down to the essence of who you are, that you are perfect. And when 20 seconds later you step out of the machine, when you stepped in, it weighs you. And when you step out, it weighs you again 20 seconds later, and everyone weighs a little bit less. I mean, almost immeasurable. But when they come out, Patrice, they say, oh my God, I feel like 1,000 pounds are off my shoulders. And that's why the B3 scanner is called enlightenment, and guaranteed enlightenment for everybody. And the other factor scientifically that we measure, when people step out, they're not only they're on their toes. They walk into the device on their feet, like grounded. But when they walk out, they're elevated. They're actually lighter. So they feel lighter. And also they have a smile on their face like they never smiled before. And once they smile that way, that is the unconditional love that they have for themselves. And we photograph that. And then we make an avatar, like a clone, call it an avatar, but it's actually you. And we can replicate that on our system so that you can, like right now, you're one person. You have 1,000 meetings you could be doing right now. And if you could actually clone yourself and actually have that energetic field be in every one of your conversations, you have an unlimited ability to communicate to everybody instantly, all across the globe. And so it really comes down to the smile. And that, it sounds crazy, but the smile, when you smile with unconditional love for yourself, that's what activates your pineal gland. And that's what makes the crystalline grid shiver. And that's what allows that energy to flow through your body. So the B3 scanner sounds crazy to a lot of people. And people say, David, where is this B3 scanner? And I say to them, what do you think? I'm an idiot? I'm not going to have a B3 scanner over here on evolution. Eventually we will. But the government would come in and confiscate that machine in 2 seconds, and I would be murdered. And so the idea in communication and God's divine plan is to replicate. So right now I'm talking to you this way, and you're talking to me in your way. But the reality is there's at least 3 other yous in the world, because God has a redundancy plan. God wants to see that you're going to achieve the perfect perfection in your human potential, no matter what. If somebody kills me, for example, so be it. I'm willing to take that as a cost of doing business. You know, we're saving lives, we're saving humanity. If I'm not willing to put it all in and all the skin in the game, what are we doing? That's ego, and that's about separation and some gain or advantage. I'm not about money or anything. I don't need anything. I grew up in social welfare and poverty. The deep state, or the state of Rhode Island where I grew up, is my mom and dad. The last thing I want to do is bash social welfare and social entitlement, because I wouldn't be the person I am if they didn't save me. At 2 years old, I was virtually dead in a crib. And the state had to come in and take my brother and 2 sisters away from my mother, because she was a single mother and couldn't take care of us. So what I'm saying is that I'm not against anything or anybody. What I am for is unconditional love. And that's what I hope I'm reflecting. And through that reflection, that's the attraction, so that virtually everybody in every place and everything is going to resonate with that unconditionality. And so there's a lot that we can continue, and it's not complicated. You know, the discussion and the education, like we said, in 1 hour, you could listen to this recording and you can walk away like you are smiling right now, right? Your smile is what is your essence. It's all about smiling and just being happy to be alive. And so we don't have to complicate simplicity. And God's divinity is as simple as it gets. In our perfection, we cannot do anything. We don't need to go anywhere or do anything. We need to just be aware and awake and present. And through that, everything happens. And all of the suffering and pain that the people in Africa, after Saturday, if the people there don't say, oh my God, this is divinely inspired, I have no idea. I need to go and do something else with my time, really. Because just like the GPMS, there's a critical thinking process that went into all the work and continues to go into the work that you're doing and Rick is doing and Lee and Dean and everyone and Darren, everyone. And so there is no waste of time. There's only the presence of our moment together. And so it's very simple. And it's wonderful to have this conversation with you. I look forward to Saturday's engagement.
It's just amazing.
And hopefully
I'm telling you, you are coming exactly on so many ways for GPMS, but also for the free trade and free travel. This is just so amazing, and I believe that the people also will need you to more to hear about starting, for example, a presentation of quantum physics and everything, because many people, they have no idea. So coming from the actual system, coming from the third dimension university, we are set up in another way, and we need to move in other direction, in completely other direction. And many of us have no idea from where to start and what to do. So practically to come back and to speak about, and also from Brazil, it's just, you know, it's not so far. And practically we are on, like here, you know, we have no, the distance will be not a problem. Exactly as you are saying, I just started to feel that. So it's just so amazing. What can I say? It's the meeting on Saturday and also on Sunday. Sometimes it depends. I started them because I said it is the time, you know, to bring up also North America and also South America and everything, you know, in general. And practically everyone is invited. So nobody, it's only, how can I say, set up for one Zoom room or another one. Everyone can go everywhere. If you want to go in UK and Ireland, or if you want also to come in Europe or also in North America, or North America is practically a name. We put that in brackets because the location is not important. It's just to tell to the people the time, because right now we have the time, you know, it's like during sometimes the daytime, and for the others are the nighttime. This is all about. But practically we are all together. These are the brackets, and this is all about GPMS, and this is just amazing, everything that you describe here. I do not know how the people from Africa may be prepared, but I'm telling you, more people will come, and more that they will hear that we are in a divine timing, that everything is possible and the time is now. I believe that this will solve also the fear problem. And when the fear is going down, then practically the people will liberate, and they will start to see that GPMS is the way. Then we consent, then we will have the universal natural law implemented, and we can do everything that you describe. And more you describe, more people will come, because I'm telling you, everything that you are saying is just amazing. So I never believed that we already we have the drone. I said probably this will come, we do not know when, but right now you are telling me the drone is here, just have the system. Then practically we can go in the desert and we can experience how to have the water from the air in the desert. And this will be just an amazing project that really probably I would like to participate to see physically how.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
Actually, it gets even interesting, Patrice, because the drone that we have is a 3-person drone, and it goes into the outer atmosphere. So, in the reason why there's 3 people is because you need the third person as a witness. If you have one person and they go up and come down and they say, "Oh my God, I was in the outer atmosphere," you're not going to believe them. Even 2 people, like a couple, like a husband and wife or best partners, you're not going to believe them. But that third person confirms and says, "Wow, in 20 seconds, you went into outer orbit, just like an astronaut, not to the moon right now, but not to the other planets, although that's possible once we map out and grid the whole universe and have it in a grid fashion. But right now, we do space tourism with an organization in San Francisco called Vector Space AI in Biosciences. And this is an inside type of story. It's amazing. In 20 seconds, 3 people go out of orbit, and literally the drone leaves. You don't see the drone on the platform. And 20 seconds later, it pops back, and then they step out, and they're like, "Oh my God, I've just never been on such a ride in my life." And to see Earth from that perspective is surreal. And astronauts even explain that. And Edgar Mitchell and anyone that's been in orbit says it's surreal. There's no description. That is God. You are God. And so it's not just about traveling here on Earth, but it's our ability to travel multi-galactical. all throughout our universe and universes. And so, but we start from one point. If we can do that alone, that will satisfy a lot of people for many, many years. And then we'll have time to actually advance the technology and really fine tune it. And it is safe. No one has to die. Like Elon Musk is saying, oh, for us to settle Mars, wherever, it's going to require human death. And that is such bullshit. And also the space program is just another way of them polluting the air with all of these satellites and stuff that are unnecessary, and the garbage. And the number one problem with space tourism right now with SpaceX and their program, they sent up 4 tourists into outer orbit for the first time overnight for 2 days. And they succeeded. The shuttle went up, it came back, but the floor, and people don't want other people to know this, they had one failure. The one failure was that the toilet in the shuttle backed up and did not function. So they didn't meditate. They thought, I'm going into outer orbit, I'm going to eat as much as I can. They weren't thinking about spirituality. And when they went up, they had to poop. And when they pooped, the poop was floating around inside of the shuttle, and it smelled awful. And so they suffered a little bit. They came back to Earth, and it was a success. But I said to Elon Musk, what are we doing? We haven't polluted the Earth enough, and now we're just taking our garbage in our human feces, and we're going to just spray it around the universe. The fact is, we are time travelers, but when we travel meditatively, and we go into a fast. When you get into that shuttle, into the drone, the last thing you want to do is have something in your stomach, because you're going to move so fast that you're going to probably vomit. But if you're meditative and you're at the 0 point field, you can go anywhere. You can disintegrate to nothing. And that's what gives you the ability to teletransport and to move from through time and space as one wholeness. And so it is about our meditative capabilities, and that's what we teach. And that's unconditional love. When you have no conditions, it is meditative. And it doesn't require like yoga and Tai Chi and all of these practices that you have to do hours and hours and hours. Literally, the B3 scanner is 20 seconds, and it's no effort. You step in and everyone steps out enlightened, just like Buddha or Jesus was. We are Buddha and Jesus. We just don't believe it. We think that we're flawed and that our human nature is not perfect. And that is the whole other condition that we need to just eliminate, or not eliminate, recognize it, but actually embrace the fact that we are perfect. And that, I think, is really what people have a lot of difficulty. You know, when somebody says they're perfect, the first thing that comes across other people is jealousy. Like, how can you be perfect when my life is so miserable? You know, and the fact is that our perfection is not just one person, and our divine nature is everybody and everything and every place. And that's what people don't realize. With the GPMS and the 888 group about the activation, it's about Mother Earth and in these portals, in these arcs, Mother Arc, and in these, the physical location is so important, because that's where that energy field is. So it's not just the person, it's the place, and it's the thing. All things that are possible and all things that are impossible. God made it so that there's no error and there's no way to make an improvement. But we try, as humans, we try to fill in the gap. We try to create a problem so we can solve the problem. And in the future, that approach does not stick at all, because there is no problem. We are the problem if we want to be, or we can be the solution, and we can just come together in unity. So I just want to thank you again. I know that we're going on, I don't know exactly how many minutes or whatever, but I always thank everyone for their time. And when we get off, I'll see exactly if it's 1 hour and 10 minutes and 12 seconds. And I always come back and say, thank you, Patrice, for whatever that amount of time is, because every second is really the changing moment for our humanity. It's coming down to that specific time where the clock is going to ring up at high noon, and we are going to evolve. That's, yeah, evolution happens instantly. Although it takes millions of years for our human development to come to this point, we as humans are in the time of our life. No other human beings have had the ability to do what we're doing. So to be alive and to call yourself a human being in the fourth dimension is supreme. It's really, it includes everything. ET intelligence, all intelligence, the total intelligence. And so once again, I want to thank you. I'll be looking forward to listening to this tape. I always do. And when I listen to myself, I'm amazed that I'm like, I actually said that. Oh my God. You know, I feel so inspired. I can inspire myself, let alone inspire other people and motivate other people. So I'm so happy to be a contributor, and I'm delighted to do anything I can for Africa specifically, and then Brazil, and then every other place, the whole global network. Once it catches on. One last comment. One of the things that we're doing here in Evolution Island, right in front of us is only one road. The mountains come right down to the ocean. There's 7 islands and 15 beaches. So I just had a conversation with Dean Willis, and I said to Dean, what we're proposing to do is guerrilla marketing. To walk, we can go from one end of the zone to the other in 2 days. And we have 35,000 people on the beach looking out over our island here, the 7 islands, but we're in the center called Evolution. And people have no idea who we are, let alone who GPS is. So we can educate people in the matter of days and have a condensed hotspot here in Brazil specifically, but now in Freetown, 1.2 million Freetowners. We can, on March 22nd, we can activate all of Freetown. So everyone there knows what GPMS is in one day. And so my comment with Rick is that we now know where these energy grids are and the spirit trails and all of the activation points. But what we haven't done is condense that energy to 1 or 2 or whatever locations. I'm just proposing that Brazil can be one of those hotspots, and then we can do it in Freetown, in Sierra Leone on March 22nd. And so that's the power, I think, of what we offer, is that supercharge and that accelerated learning, and just exposing so that it's kind of like in your face. That's what guerrilla marketing is. You don't want to tell people what to do, but at the same time, there's only 2 options: either unconditional love or live in fear. That's as simple as it is. Or to live with money as a slave, or to trade in time and to be empowered. Those are the only 2 options. So we can keep the conversation very simple, and I'm hoping that that makes sense. And like I said, we could continue this conversation. It's going to last for an eternity anyways. But I want to just thank you again for your time, Patrice, today.
Oh, thank you so much. I would like to name this conversation like GPMS Brazil contributors, but in reality, it is about Mother Earth contributors. It's about space, it's about universe. But we will name Brazil because the people to understand as location, do not be lost on universe. And it's just so amazing. Thank you so much, and you are welcome anytime. And the Zoom room can be open then. This is not a problem. The time practically does not exist. We know that. It's just so amazing that I met.
On Saturday, what time is it on Saturday for the meeting? Do you already have it scheduled for Saturday?
Yeah, I think that also Rick will be able to join us. This will be 12 p.m. Toronto time. It's the Easter time, Toronto, Canada, 12 p.m. like. Okay. Yeah, okay. I will be looking also for Brazil hour, and to see exactly what will be there. And I will ask you also before if you are able to be at that time free for the meeting. Just will be so amazing. Just today it's just such a beautiful day because I met you, and also I met somebody else in GPMS administration on free energy, and I said, oh my God, I never knew until few months ago that practically my birth name is 369 in numerology with the total 9. And I said, probably this is the reason that I'm looking for the free energy project. And I really hope that this will start from somewhere. And today, when I met her on the administration, on GPMS administration, free energy, she told me, I know what everything about, but practically I have such problem to tell to the people, to get the information outside. So practically we should move also on this direction of the free energy and see her potential there, what she knows about, and to start also the project for all the earth. Because this is just another project, you know, gather the water from the air, and this will help Africa a lot, water, energy, and everything. And coming with free trade and free traveling, this is your drone and everything, because practically, just think a little bit, we have the drone, and even that we have the drone right now, we cannot move, we cannot use it. So why would have the drone, you know? Because practically we have still interdiction to move, to travel. So practically,
Right.
yes, we can be in 20 seconds somewhere, but when we are there, we will be captured by the police or something like. So we need all this regulation to go, to move down. So this is Gpms.world. It's implementation of universal natural law that allow all this amazing project to come for humanity. So yes. Thank you so much to be here today, and just I'm waiting to meet you anytime. Thank you.
Okay. Love, light, and gratitude.